Great. I'm glad we get a chance to connect live, and I certainly want to hear more of the details on the seminar. I want to ask you, feedback. I want to get all that stuff out, and the success and various other things. And I look forward to it.
Great.
Awesome. So I had sent, I'm sure I sent both of you, and I think, Michael, you said you were going to connect or circle back with Brian on just some of the numbers that we like to capture.
Yeah.
We don't share this and say, this is what Brian got. It's kind of like for, our database.
Right.
So if we start there, the number of, I guess you would say, the number of buying units that showed up, and then the next number will be how many brought spouses, and those two together will be the total that were there.
Okay, so what we know is the number of people in the room was 51. I'm not quite sure. Do you know how many were spouses? Roughly 12?
Yeah, just, sorry, just give me a second here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if I wasn't looking at your face, I would have had all this stuff up in front of me.
Oh, Brian. Or, Michael.
Yeah, there was like 102.
No, he's asking how many showed up.
Yeah.
Just how many showed up.
And then how many were spouses. So 51 showed up, we know that.
So there was 41 that showed up.
No, 51 showed up. 51 people were in the room. I know that for a fact.
41 primary registrants showed up.
Plus 10 spouses then.
Okay, that's what we're looking at. So the number is 10. So 41, 10 gives us 51. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. How many completed the feedback form?
We got 33 feedback forms completed.
Yeah.
And we had 28 of them agreed to have a phone meeting.
Wow.
And that was sort of how I positioned it, was let's make it nice and low-key, non-threatening for everybody. So let's book phone meetings first, and then we'll go from there to booking meetings in the office.
Okay, wonderful. So I can say, and we had our pre-brief call, and we talked about positioning of the feedback form, and I do it with every client to, get more. What I can say is this number 33, given that there were 41 in the room, you're much higher than average on feedback form completion.
Right.
Yeah, we thought that too, like high level of form completion, high level of people stayed the entire time.
How do we get into that?
Good.
Oh, sorry, we're going back to your face where I could do this with a screen share.
Right. Yeah. So, and I think part of the reason that happened, Colin, was I spent about 10 minutes going through. So I think, was it Colin that sent us a retirement checklist, or how do we get
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the retirement checklist that you sent us along with the eval form.
Yeah, I sent those.
We actually did some pretty significant edits to it, just kind of based on Brian's communication and questioning style.
Good.
And we asked people to kind of complete it, put their name on it.
So here's what I did in the last 10 minutes of the seminar.
Okay.
So they were given a 2-page handout on the way in. So the first page was the evaluation form. The second page was the retirement checklist. But I actually walked through the entire retirement checklist with them, and we reworded everything into kind of what they would like. So I'll just read a couple of them for you. So the first one said, I'd like to have a plan that allows me to spend and enjoy more income in my early or active retirement years without worrying about running out of money in my later or passive years. So I asked them, we get given them pens when they came in too. I said, okay, so if you got that, if that sounds good to you, then check that off before I went to the next one. And then the next one is, I'd like to have more income in retirement without having to take more risk with my investments. So I asked them again, if that's something you'd like to have, nod your head, check the right place, good. An interesting one that I put in there that I think really helped, because I've seen it come up a few times already. Let me just find it here. I'm interested to see if I can improve my financial position now and in retirement without having to change financial advisors. So really what we were doing there was creating the opportunity to bring value to them, with them not feeling committed to move money to us or anything. And sure enough, I had a guy in my office yesterday who he's in tight with his financial guy that's got his 300 grand. but he's got a capital gains problem in the hundreds of thousands to solve, and he doesn't have any life insurance, and he's 64 and he's healthy.
There you
So
go.
we agreed that his money's going to stay where it is, and I'm probably going to do some insurance on him for a few $100,000 permanent insurance.
Awesome.
We wouldn't have got, I don't think we would have got him in had he felt like he might have to change financial advisors, because he's that happy with the guy he's got.
Yep.
So that one helped. Another one of them was.
I'm going to circle back to that comment on a strategy that I learned years ago, but it's almost similar. Continue.
Okay. Another one was, I'd like to create a retirement plan with multiple streams of income that are not all taxed the same. And I brought that up a few times over the course of the seminar, the importance of that,
right,
and not having all your money be in a registered plan. Another one that caught this same guy is, I know I will have taxes due in my estate from a cottage, investment, real estate, or the sale of my business. I would like to explore the most efficient way to pay those taxes. I want my legacy to go to my family, not the government. So I said, if that applies to you, check that off. So basically what happened then was I had pretty good participation of people checking this stuff off before I ever asked them to fill in the evaluation form, which is stapled to it. Funny thing was, we had a hard time getting some of the people to hand them in because they wanted to keep the checklist.
Okay.
And some of them had made profuse amounts of notes on the back of the second page, which was the retirement checklist page. So what we did was we agreed that we would scan it and email them a copy of what they had handed in, which we did that.
Oh, good.
So, and then, yeah, we were very open and transparent. We said, hey, listen, this is our first seminar. We hope it's been good for you. We would really value your feedback. So I walked through the way we had set up the form. Just asked them to please, take the time to fill it in, hand it in, and then we just asked them to indicate if they were here with their spouse. There was a spot on our form to check it off, just so that if they had different last names or whatever, we could correlate the forms, because otherwise if they got different last names, we weren't going to know.
Yep, fair.
Yeah, so that's what's happened. So since then, we've already probably had, between John and I, maybe 6 or 7 phone intro meetings. We have a couple more booked. Both him and I have already gone to the next stage of having some people in the office already, and the seminar was a week and a half ago. We gave people choices of time for us to call them in sort of groupings, and maybe what I will do is I'll just get Mike to send you this 2-page thing so you can see better what we're talking about. But we let them be fairly specific on when they would like to receive a phone call and stuff. So we're doing our best to accommodate some of that, because 2 of the choices were early evening between 4:30 and 7, or a Saturday morning, AM only. So Don's been calling all the ones during the day, and John and I are trying to cover off the evening or Saturday calls.
Okay.
But here's a cool thing that we did. So we dumped everything in our database. Mike looked after all that. We had a total of 139, I think, signed up for the seminar, which from my recollection was about 99 were registrants, and let's say 40 were supposedly bringing spouses.
Yep.
So all the people that didn't show up at the seminar, we sent them an email with the retirement checklist attached to it. And John's already got an appointment with one of those people who never even was here.
Wow.
So just, I can't recall the verbiage of the email, but really encouraging them to read this attachment. This is the kind of things that we're able to do to help our clients. And again, when you're reading it, it's kind of in the first person of what you would like to have done.
Yep.
So we're kind of hoping out of whatever, maybe we'll get 8 or 10 appointments of the people that we never even met that day. So that's kind of the
Colin, we kind of shuffled out like 3 follow-up sort of emails. One was to the attendees, right, that requested meetings, and the other one was to attendees that didn't request a meeting. And then we also sent a communication to all the non-attendees.
I like
and
it.
really just as a follow-up, and just sort of said, hey, blah, 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 blah. So we basically hit everybody, but the main focus, of course, was on the people that asked for meetings first, and then
Absolutely.
the second focus is on the people that showed up but didn't ask for meetings.
Yep.
Just giving them an opportunity. Again, very soft, not hassling anybody.
No, and I mean, I kind of I'll put myself as maybe an attendee that signed up, but something came up that Saturday that I couldn't make it. Had every intent, wanted to learn, be educated. This sounded like something that would work for me, and I wasn't able to attend. And now I'm kind of, as you described that to me, Brian, on this email that you sent the checklist, I missed this thing, but here's who, wow, okay. And then you create interest. And if you've got one follow-up on that, I can only think that there'll be another 2 or 3 or 4 that might trickle in. That I like it. I haven't heard that strategy before.
Yeah, and I'm actually planning to make some outbound phone calls.
Okay.
Just to, and so I've been thinking this through, and what I'm thinking of doing is making some outbound calls, and then let's say we're leaving a message, then say, we did send you an email after the seminar, but I'm going to resend it to you now with a checklist of the types of things that we may be able to help you accomplish. So please look for it in your email today, kind of thing. And then just sort of bring it back to, if I'm on the phone with them anyway, and I'm in the CRM, I might as well just shoot it over their way because we have all their email addresses.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of hoping that, as I say, the goal would be if we could get 10 appointments from people that never showed up, that would be great. Maybe part of what I'm going to do right now is just transition into our next seminar thought, and we'll probably advise all these people that couldn't make it. We'll advise them about that one, but we'll include your link for them to re-register. So we basically like to do an RSP one on either Saturday, February 1st or Saturday, February the 8th. And we can come back to that if you want. If you got some stuff.
We'll come back to that. I mean, I like that you're already thinking ahead to the next one. So just great numbers, great feedback. Thanks. Some of the strategies you used, I think, are awesome. And but you prioritized, which is the critical thing, right? You owed it to people that said we want meetings, and then to the people that attended that didn't request a meeting, and then you had some other drip campaign, email in this case with the checklist to those that didn't attend.
One other thing that happened was
that's right.
Was in the seminar, somebody asked, were we not going to take questions? And I said, no, we're not. And I explained why with the size of the group and stuff. And I said, when I was asking for the evaluation form, and I said, and by the way, if you don't like the fact that we're not taking questions in front of the group, put that on the evaluation form as well.
Yeah.
And nobody did. But interestingly, the couple that wanted to ask a question were second in line to talk to me right after the seminar was done. And it was a question about how much in the sale that's triggering capital gains, how much of it would be included for taxes. So they got their answer anyway.
Okay.
But so right after the seminar, John and I each had 4 buying units standing in front of us. So I had a single guy and then a couple of couples and then a single person, and John had a variation of that. But one guy, the first guy, the guy that actually came in here yesterday, right away he said, forget the phone meeting. He said, put a star on the corner of my form. He said, I want to come in and see you. I'm ready to go. And John had a guy that said, he wasn't standing beside me. John was on the other side of the room. He had a guy that right away said he'll put together all his documents and he wanted an appointment as well. So even though we were positioning to do the phone meeting, a couple of people bypassed that process totally and just said they want to come in the office. And we did finish up the meeting with a picture of our sign, and I refer to the fact that it's right across the road. Look for it when you're driving out of the parking lot. That's kind of, once we get through the phone meeting thing, if we like what we're doing and you like what we're doing, that's where you would come to meet with us. So it all kind of tied together really nicely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So just a couple of things I want to tie up, and then we'll start talking about future. So, question I was going to ask was about what did you do well to get engagement of the audience? You already spoke to that. You talked about the checklist. I haven't had anybody that has said they've done that up front. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
You create that. You use the word, and as you were talking, you saw my head going. I'm a big note taker, and right here, you used participation with the checklist, right?
Yeah, and I started the seminar with a participation thing too. Okay. So basically, the way it happened was so part of our goal was to get John and I both in front of the audience because I didn't want all of them wanting appointments with me or whatever, right? So. So John started out with just some, housekeeping matters, explaining where the washrooms are and coffee at the back and to, silence your cell phones. And then he went through formally introducing me. So then I came up, and what we did as a way to generate interest right away was I put a question out there, and I said, what if you believe to be true about money turned out not to be true? How soon would you want to know? So we put that up as a starting question.
Okay.
And I said, this is a really important question. And so then we put 3 silos of money up there. I said, okay, so now you've got a choice. There's a pile of $1 million. There's one for 900,000. There's one for 800,000. And then I put my hand up and I said, how many in the room like me want to have the million? And most of the people put up their hands. I said, okay, now I'm going to tell you a little bit about those 3 piles. The first pile, the million, is all taxable. The second pile, the 900,000, is partly taxable. And so now that's appearing in the middle of the pile. And the third pile is tax-free. And I said, okay, now how many people like me now want the 800,000 instead? And same thing, they put up their hands.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, so just quickly in a matter of 2 minutes, I've shown you that sometimes what happens when you're planning for retirement is it's not about the size of the pile that counts. It's the makeup of the money that you're going to have to draw your income from. So I just did that little blurb, and then I formally introduced John, and he did like all the benefits, all the strategies that were referred to. So we were really careful that everything that you put on our landing page, we made a point of covering in our seminar.
Good.
So John did all the government benefits and stuff, and then I came up and did the strategic part, and I did the wrap up, and there was more participation in the back end there. So that was kind of how we did it and how we went back and forth. We actually made a call partway through the week to rent a PA system, because we started to see, based on the numbers, that we were likely going to fill the room, and we realized that we needed to do that. So I thought we did some things well. Like we had the mics on our cheeks, and we had the PA, and yeah, so the whole thing felt pretty professional. People, I think, were fairly comfortable and impressed with, it was a good experience.
Yeah.
And we got pretty good feedback on the content.
Good. That's excellent. As I do pre-briefs with other advisors, I talk about, have you seen the venue acoustically? Is it right? Because all you need is that little something to not be right. Mm-hmm. And you're just going to have, audiences just kind of go, I can't quite hear them. Yeah. I joke about this, but spending 27 years with CIBC as I did, and lots of client events and people coming up from Toronto, Benjamin Tal, I don't know if you know the name.
No.
Okay, anyways, he's CIBC's chief economist. He's got an interesting background. He's, London. I think he's might have some Israeli in him, but he's got an interesting accent. Mm-hmm. And whenever my father would go to these events, he always would have to lean in to listen to, we called him Benny, Benny Tal. He'd lean in and he says, geez, he's tough to understand.
Right.
Because he's got this unique accent. And he gets so hyped up about what's going on economically that my dad says, oh, I love what he's saying, but I said, it's interesting. Everybody's leaning in, trying to really be quiet to capture every word. But acoustically, if you get it right and you do the right things, you just create a great experience for the attendee. So awesome. Yeah. All right. So here's a big question, and then we can move on and start talking about future. From the time that you and I engaged Brian up to bringing on Michael and moving forward, contract, venue, all that, describe from your perspective the experience working with me and Gustin Quon.
So overall, I would say it was really positive. I mean, right from the first call that I had with you, I just kind of felt that, well, firstly, I thought you knew what you were talking about, and I like dealing with people like that, and I just felt that you were confident in your ability to deliver what your company offers as a service. And I was confident that if you could deliver what you said you could, that I could get good results from the room. So it was more about, could we get the people there? The only part I think where we had any disparity of, what's really going on here, and again, this is just, you're the sales guy on the front end and Sean's the whatever guy on the back end, was we went from, roughly 50% of the people show up to, it's more like 40% of the people show up, and it's probably actually 30% of the people that show up. And, halfway through the time in leading up to it, I had to make a decision about whether to add a second seminar, and it was largely being affected by these percentages. Okay. And then it just happened that my wife showed me a Facebook ad, and that, used a number of different pictures, but this particular one was a panoramic view of sort of a semicircle setup in a room, and there had to be almost 100 people in it. And this was the day before I was going to make the decision about adding the second seminar. And I'm looking at that and I said, okay, we're just doing one. Even if we fill the room to capacity, we're just going to do one, because the expectation of a lot of the people registering is that they're going to be in a room with a bunch of people anyway. So then beyond that, we were just fine. We were just, okay, let's just fill this place, do what we can. And then we added sound, because a couple of days before the date, we had over 100 people signed up. So I started thinking about, we went back into the room. We figured out, yeah, we better get some sound in here and stuff. So I would say that was all really good. What we were provided with on a weekly basis in terms of a report was both helpful and exciting. You just got a sense of, hey, this is on the right track, good things are going to happen. I don't know, Mike could maybe comment on how easy or whatever it was to dump everything in our CRM from what the format you were given. Was that all cool?
Oh yeah, because your list is pretty clean, right? Last name, first name, all that stuff made it easy for me to kind of bring it real, as easy as our system makes it. So that was good. Yeah, honestly, all the way through, I was pretty pleased. There's always this dance between perfection and progress. So, for example, in a traditional world, we might have had a look at the landing page first and approved it or something. But that didn't happen. You guys just kind of moved forward, right? We shared some photos. So there was no step in the process saying, hey, you know what, let's get their acceptance on the landing page. But honestly, because progress happened and you guys did a great job, from my view, that was okay. Yeah. I mean, first I'm going, wow, shouldn't there be some step there around that, right? So I appreciated that. When you guys told us about the whack-a-mole thing with the one woman putting derogatory kind of stuff up there, and for me that was a huge value add, because I know some of the stuff in the background that Sean was basically playing whack-a-mole, taking some of those out.
I love it, whack-a-mole.
The other thing that came up, and I don't know that we ever talked about, was that we learned afterwards that a day or two before, you guys have a human that actually tries to reach out to the registrants. And I don't know that we knew that. So that kind of might have been one of those things that, in future, if you're dealing with a new client, you might highlight that. Because again, from my view, that was a huge value add. We just didn't know. We actually started talking about, geez, maybe next time should we be doing something like that? My tendency is to always defer back to the professional experts, which is you in this case, right? And just, what should we do here? So that was cool. Calling people in advance. And
well, that's awesome. So what I've done, back to your landing page, and Michael, you and I talked offline about this, and just what you said, progress. I'm glad you did it. I was so excited and looking at the timing. I go to Sean, onboarding document. Let's get this up. And
it's better because you have companies, how it is. You can right there, you could slow things down by days where all of a sudden Brian and I are not in agreement, or you got a compliance person that jumps in. So that whatever, that was a judgment call on your guys' part. I thought it made sense.
Yeah. So what I've done, and great feedback, I've kind of built this into my own process. When Sean gets the landing page done, which for the most part is pretty much a standard one, unless, and I think, Brian, I can't remember if I spoke to you about this, or Michael, I spoke to you about this, but unless there's something unique going on in your area where we maybe need to speak to a client base.
Sure.
I'll give that example. We can add a bullet or two. But what I'm doing now is when Sean gets the landing page done, I'm sending the client the link, and it isn't to get their approval. Now I have had some where the compliance department, has a big, they can do whack-a-mole.
Yeah, that's right.
They want to see this, right? And you got to appease compliance. I know that. But I'm sending it just so they get to see it, and I actually am sending them a copy of an ad as well, right? So, okay, ad, because sometimes they don't understand it. Ad, I like it. Landing page, I really want to go. So I'm just sending those out as courteous, but it's not to hold up the process, because that's what Sean always asks me. He's okay, I'm sending this, do they have to approve it? Because now what he's thinking, exactly what you said, Michael, how many days does this put him behind if someone's going to approve it?
That's right.
Yeah, Sean wants to go. Sean wants to launch.
Yeah, right.
I can tell the guys managed a lot of campaigns. I respect that.
Yeah.
But just before I forget, the last thing I'd have any comment on would be the deck. So again, huge value add from our view. We did make some modifications, a lot of styling stuff, like just making things bigger where we could. But I also heard, I think it was from Sean, that you guys are kind of know that you're kind of neat and are working on a newer deck.
Yes.
I think he shared that.
Yes.
So that, that may be cool at some point. But again, we were able to work with what you put in there.
Mhm.
We did some little customizations of things here and there, but because for us, it's very important, I don't know that all advisors think that way, but the tie back to the agenda and the expectations of the people that registered,
Yeah.
for us, that matters. So it was good. It was easy and good to work with. And just having some kind of deck is so awesome compared to us having to create our own. Sorry, Brian's just got another line going there.
Okay.
He's just going to step away for a second.
Okay, yeah, so that's great because, you and I spoke, everybody's experience is different. My deep experience on building presentations, decks, understand what should go on a slide, timing, I get it. It takes time though. But you get somebody that hasn't presented before, and the first thing they're starting to think, because I try to be preemptive, of pretty much 90% of what you're looking for, given some tweaks you want to make, that is a huge load off their plate, thinking, I got to build a presentation. Oh my gosh, it's going to take me forever.
It probably took me a couple of days of man hours just to do edits on what we got, right? So when you do it from scratch, that's a big, that's a big resource strain, right?
Awesome.
So, I don't really have a lot more to add, I don't think, about kind of how it went. Right.
Okay, so,
and I've been meaning to kind of follow up with some of this number stuff because, again, I've got it all in a spreadsheet, like everything, right? How many registrants, how many actual registrants, how many spouses, actual attendees. And then in our own CRM, once we have it in there, we just I create different views, right? So I've got a whole list of attendees, non-attendees, meeting requests, right? So it's really easy for me to kind of slice and dice in different ways. As near as I can tell, we had somewhere just about 39% or so attendees versus primary registrants. I'm pretty sure that was kind of the number. So when Sean talks 30 to 40, there you go, right? And so that felt pretty good.
Awesome. So, I mean, if you can, I'm pretty sure you, Brian, would be on the same page, but if you had to rate the overall experience with us on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you give us, Michael?
Yeah, I'd love to, Brian chime in. Like, I'm at least giving you a 4 or something.
Yeah, okay.
Really, I'm sort of like, how can I say it? I come away from interactions with other companies. I like to be an advocate when I can. Do you know what I mean? I want other businesses to be successful. And I'm also the guy that will not be quiet when things were not great. You know what I mean? I'll always explore it with the company themselves. So I'm pretty candid that way. Yeah. No, I've come away from this going, man, I'd recommend these folks to anybody. Awesome. And I don't really have much more to say than that, right?
Okay.
Because you only have so much control over the quality of people and so that show up. I mean, obviously you haven't been paying bums $5 to dress up in a suit. No. The people that showed up clearly kind of fit the general demographic. We don't really know until we get into some interactions. So it'll be cool for us, a month or two from now, where we can actually tie some dollars and cents to this, right?
So, and I'll pick up on what you just said. What I'd like to do, and you know a bit about my background, why I like this space. It allows me to still be connected to the industry, and help people like Brian, like yourself, other firms win new clients, because I'm not branded by anything now like I was for 27 years. Right? It's hey, I want you to be successful. I want you to land as much business as you can. Grow the book. And if the connection I make with you and Brian or others to say, hey, you know what, it's calling it Gustin Quon, that makes me happy at the end of my day. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and when you ask me for a number, like when I say 4 out of 5, you know it is, nobody ever gives a 5. No. You don't even necessarily know why. Yeah. So like, a 4 is real darn good.
Oh, it's absolutely. Now.
And ask again when Brian.
I will. But what I was about to segue into is that I'd like us to, now we're looking to February. That's awesome. But first one, I'd like to remain in touch, and it might be just me sending an email in a couple of 3 weeks, just hey, what's an update? It doesn't have to be specific on actual numbers, but hey, I'm interested to know further post-seminar, what in-person meetings have looked like, your success, that kind of thing. So I'll do that.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Sorry about that.
So we're just kind of wrapping up on the
Yep.
one that just happened, and we haven't talked anymore kind of about the next one. The one thing you just asked is if you were to rate, 1 out of 5, 5 being awesome, 1 being you suck. How would you rate these guys in general? And your
Okay, well, here's an interesting
I'm
thing.
going to step away just for a minute.
So so I have a coach out of the U.S. in Tennessee, and he coaches some top advisors in Canada. And I was in a meeting, a 2-day school, 2 weeks ago, and one of the guys in the room, who is an advisor, who probably shouldn't be in the room because he's not an advisor of the caliber of most of the people there, but he's got his side thing going on where he's the marketing guy of a seminar business. Let me see if I have his card here. Hang on one sec. Anyway, so somehow he gets wind that I'm doing a seminar. I don't know exactly how that happened. And so he starts talking to me about their offering. And, he doesn't even know who your company is, but he's starting to down talk the guys at whatever, I'm sure. So it's the wrong way, in my view anyway, it's the wrong way to approach business. But basically they're charging $110 per registrant. And they're supposedly better because people are going to get texts and all this stuff leading up to. So anyway, I said, well, hey, I'm going to see how mine's working out. I'm expecting good things. I told him what I was paying, which he can't figure out how you guys are doing what you're doing for the price you are. And then, legit, after the Saturday seminar, he called me on the Monday and I told him our results, which he was floored by. I told him I'm really happy. I told him we're not looking at any other seminar company. And then he tried to get on the phone with me again this week through my assistant, and I just blew him off. I told her, tell him I don't want to talk to him. I've given him all the feedback he's getting. We're happy where we are.
Okay.
So anyway, so he went away. But it's just, we're really, really happy with the outcome. We're having faith that the results in terms of costs. It's a little bit hard to measure our real costs. I mean, our hard costs in terms of your service, the room, the rental of equipment, coffee and such is probably $3,500 all in.
Okay.
But in terms of our time of our team, I wouldn't be surprised if the number is pushing 8,000-ish.
Okay.
It really kind of took over a lot of our attention for a couple of weeks leading up to the meeting. And some of the stuff, like certainly Monday, Tuesday, the first 2 days of the week, we knew it was really important to get in touch with these people quickly. We decided to go the email route. So there was a lot of pressure on Mike and Don and the CRM and all that. So anyway, so my thing was just, hey, as long as we're going to cover those costs, which I think easily we will, but we haven't yet, but I think that's coming. That would sort of be roughly what I'm looking at as a real cost to our business in terms of doing it. But to my mind, if we've got 28 people in the room that are open, like I just had a phone meeting with a guy this morning for 45 minutes, and I finished the call by more or less pushing him away. Just, he wasn't on our profile. I gave him some helpful tips. When the call was done, I emailed him a quick link on the internet for a personal tax calculator because he was asking some questions about some stuff. And, I don't expect I'll hear from him again. And that was okay. The cool part was, he didn't come and sit in my office and take up time and space that way. He's a real talker, so I was able to limit the call and get him off the phone in about 40 minutes. Okay. If not, he might still be here.
Yeah, it was a long call, right?
Yeah. So
it was late, too.
So anyway, that was all good. So the one thing that was a little bit negative that you should know, and it's funny because I'm sure it was good intentions, is we had this weird random pizza show up here earlier this week.
Do you know about the pizza?
I think I know what you're speaking about.
Okay, so here's what happened. We got a pizza show up, a large pizza from Pizza Pizza, and here's what was on it: hot banana peppers, veggie-based pepperoni, and a ton of mushrooms, and 3 cans of Coke. Okay, and it says on the receipt that comes with it that it was given to us by another business. Doesn't tell us the other business's name. There's a lady's name on it and a 204 area code. So all of us are looking at each other going, where did this random pizza come from? Who's in area code 204 that we have no clue who it is? So what you got to know is it's a nice gesture, but if you're going to do it, you got to find out what the people like. Honest to God, without word of a lie, None of us drink Coke, and none of us ate one bite of the pizza. So, but it was taken to a home of some people that needed it by one of my assistants when she left the office. So it didn't go to waste, for sure.
Okay.
And they were very grateful to receive it. So the way that Dawn found out it was you guys was she called the 204 number in the afternoon, and the lady, as soon as she said, "Oh, my name's Dawn from Brian Gribben Insurance," the lady recognized her, I guess one of your team.
Yeah.
And so we did thank you for the pizza, but we didn't eat the pizza.
And I'm on the phone downstairs. There's really no one else around at the time. Dawn comes down. She's like, "Did you order a pizza?" I'm like, "No." And when I'm on the phone, I'm waving people away because I'm on the phone. And Brian's business is kind of attached to the house. So I'm going, I don't know, maybe it's the kids or somebody in the house. And then later I heard they even wanted to give me the pizza because I'll eat anything. I heard the ingredients. I'm going, I want to eat.
But he'd already left.
But then I split. So I didn't get it.
Okay.
Here's the other thing, though. Had it been a nice box of chocolates that showed up, I never would have even seen it. The girls would have
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
absconded with it. It would have been gone, whatever. But anyway, so it was a nice thought, but I just thought you should know that.
No, appreciate that. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I don't know how you massage a gesture like that, right? Do you send a gift card? You know what I mean? Like even a pizza card or something. I don't know.
I just thought you should know, at least if you guys are investing money, what the outcome was.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate
Nice
it.
thought.
Yeah, David and Madison in our office, who kind of is the office manager, she'll appreciate that feedback.
It's so tough these days too, right? Because you go, "Oh, I'm a vegetarian. Oh, I got gluten. Oh, you know what I mean? I can't eat chocolates. I'm allergic to peanuts."
And we got all that here. Like two of my staff, well, Dawn has been a vegetarian for over 30 years, since long before it became the thing to do.
Yeah.
And her husband's vegetarian as well. And then we used to have a guy here that was vegan and no gluten, and I don't know. It's complicated, man. Whenever we go to do anything with meals that involve the staff, it's like,
I can
anyway. So
thank you.
beyond that, so
February 1st, 8th. Let's briefly talk about this. We got well enough time, but I'd love to hear from you.
so what I was wondering is, do you have, and maybe you've already done it in the past, or maybe we're going to help you do it in the future, but do you have a landing page that's designed to be well suited to RSP season, if you call it
And
that?
a deck. RSP
Yeah,
focus.
yeah.
RSP landing page, RSP deck.
I would say no right now, but not to say that we can't pull this off, given the time of season. Ex-banker, right?
Could be a cool opportunity for you, just, beyond us, right? It's generally that sort of time of year where a lot of advisors, as you know, are kind of focused on that crap or stuff. So we're trying to confirm, availability on our basically do the same place across the street. Worked out great. Dawn's going to be our assistant here. She's going to be trying to confirm some of that, but that's the general thinking right now.
Okay, so
then
go ahead.
Where a lot of the stuff that we presented in the one that we did recently was relatively general, and we didn't get in too much in specific numbers. The one area I would see us heading differently in the RSP one was we would be very specific about, the percentage of your income and the maximum dollar limit per year you can put in, and what qualifies as earned income, and that you can carry forward unused room, and how a spousal RSP works, and just stuff like that. Like, we would delve into the whole RSP arena, but other than that, I think for the most part, most of the seminar could be the same as it is.
Okay.
Because you might have to hit, to me, from my view, you might have to hit TFSA a little bit too. Like, you know what I mean? When you start talking about RSP, then you start running into questions like, should I put it in my TFSA or my RSP? But the same way as you have the government sort of plans, retirement plans on the deck, would basically be some sort of an overview of the mechanics, right? Of those plans, the tax preferred plans, and then primarily the RSP.
And there's lots being written, even from my bank days. We had the chief economist and others writing a lot on, do you go RSP or do you go TFSA?
Sure.
Yeah. We've also got enough lead time on this that we'd be happy to give you feedback on the deck as you're trying to create something that we would like at the end.
Okay.
Before, with the one that you sent us, we basically knew that whatever we were going to turn it into in the 2 weeks remaining that we had to just create that. So cool. One of the things that we did actually was we went to the room midweek, and we stood at the back of the room and looked at the font size on every image and figured out what was the minimum font size that was acceptable for the people in the back of the room to be able to see. And then we just went and edited the whole deck to make it that nothing was smaller than that.
Good.
Just stuff like that, right?
Good. And what you did is something I used to do in my past life. Throw it up on a screen and go sit in the last chair.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
Like where the current deck has a number of pages where there's tables in there, like
Yeah,
we just blew those out.
yeah,
Right?
there was no,
Like, just don't even need to be there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're thinking RSPs. We talked about the dates. We talked about the place.
Okay.
So my plan next year is we'll do an RSP one in February.
Okay.
We'll probably do another one that's maybe the same one as we just did in likely the second half of May. I'm away for the first half of May.
Okay.
We'll likely not do anything through the summer, and then we'll do 2 in the fall. We'll probably do one a bit earlier than we did this one. So we did this one November 2nd. We'll probably do one maybe September 15th and maybe the first week of November. Space them out by 6 or 7 weeks. But I think assuming we get the results that we're having faith are going to come of all this,
okay.
I think we're going to do 4 of them in the coming year.
Okay.
And we'll kind of space them in accordingly. And I might make one of them, I might have you guys try and create a landing page and a deck that's suited to business owners.
Okay. We've done business owners in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different sandbox.
Yeah.
Different kind of marketing. I think we may have talked about that.
Different cost structure to get there, which my thing is, I'm going to use the seminars to pay for the seminars. It's like, if we're having success and we're making money at it, then I'm willing to reinvest some of that money in a higher price seminar to put the business owner people in the seats. And realizing that we're not going to have 50 of them show up.
Yeah. So on the business owner one, we've already got. So,
okay, cool.
But what we would do though is when you pick the time to do it is well in advance to say, here's what the ad campaign looks like. Here's what the landing page looks like. Here's the stats from previous ones we've run.
Yeah.
You're well aware of timing and what to get them out where it needs to be.
Yeah.
An example, we've done some for doctors, and that has to be at a high-end restaurant, and you better be prepared to pay for an expensive meal.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not coming to no educational seminar or any kind of, a library, not a chance. They know they got wealth. They want the fancy deal.
Okay. So cool. We'll keep that in.
Awesome. What I said, Brian, when you were just finishing up on the phone, what I was saying to Michael is that, I certainly feel vested in you as a client of mine, that in the coming weeks, I'll probably send an email out to the two of you, just say, hey, interested to know an update, client turnover, conversion rate, tell me the exciting stories. I'm not looking for any private or confidential information. More, it's my interest in that you're doing well.
Okay. Cool. Well, funny, like we had a meeting with our Canada Life investment rep on Monday this week, and we're going to take it a step further. I told him we're tracking all the assets that come from that seminar that go to you, and then I'm coming to you to help me pay for the next one.
Perfect.
And there's going to be no Canada Life branding on any of it, which I know is against their corporate policy, but I'm just saying, hey, I paid the freight for this. If you guys end up with a few $1 million because of it in deposits, then I want you to cough up dough towards the next seminar, and nothing's going to say Canada Life on it, but you are going to get money out of it from deposits. And so he says, he goes, we can work with that. Give me a list, and I can give him a list with client names and stuff because the clients will already be Canada Life clients.
Right.
And he can check on account balances and do whatever he needs to do for the bean counters to go, that's fine. We'll give you $2,000 or whatever they might do. So,
Awesome.
Quick question. When you think about, Brian, the next one, sorry, my battery's going to die here soon on my laptop. Just age, like the demographic stuff. Are you kind of looking at the same thing as the one that we just did? Brian just walked away.
You asked me a question. I'm going to get your plug.
Don't get it. It's okay. We're got 10% remaining. So
am I looking at the same age and demographic for the RSP one?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I'm just thinking if it's RSP, it's going to draw a little bit broader crowd, but we don't want any 30-year-olds in the room.
No, we target 40. We target 45 and up.
Well,
that'll work.
That's what I'm getting at, right? The only thing I think you guys can really target is age and geo, right?
Yeah.
Like location. So I just want to confirm that.
Yeah. The other things that I've learned from Sean is we start looking at, when you take a look at the AI of Facebook and what we can draw on, there's lots of stuff people, I take me, for example, like I've got a client, actually I have my advisor running a seminar with a colleague of his, actually running 2 here in Winnipeg. And I love the fact that I'm getting the ads.
Yeah.
Because I'm the right age. I take a look at what I have and what I'm following on my social media. Just some simple things. I won't bore you with all the details, but I like high-end watches.
Yeah.
And you know, I follow a couple of exotic car type of sites. Not that I'm going to have it in my driveway like a McLaren anytime soon, or any of these other ones that are. But those are what interest me. So when you start to profile that, I'm loving that I'm seeing these ads, because I'm telling my advisor, Lyle, I said, I'm getting them. It's working.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's what we had here too, because I don't live in this area, but a number of the people on the team do, and they're also in the age demographic. So yeah, those are the people that, hey, I'm seeing this thing. And
I'm not on Facebook at all. So my wife and I'd be sitting watching TV at night, and she'd be showing me pictures of your ads on showing up on her Facebook.
Right on.
And she's the same age as me, like she's 58. So
right on. Okay, well, I enjoyed our call. I enjoyed the feedback. Positive things to do differently. I love it, and I've enjoyed getting to know the two of you, and now faces, live video, even better. And I'll start to take away the stuff for the February one and noodle this around an RSP slant, and certainly would draw on your expertise on anything that we might put in there, or what you might suggest should go in there.
Okay, yeah. That's cool.
Okay.
So we'll follow up with some email, like you and I, and I'll just start. We'll start having a thread that's all about planning, seminar planning for the first of the 8th. Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you ever so much.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your week, and have a good weekend coming up.
Okay.
Thanks. Take care.
Colin.
Bye.
Bye.